Do you remember when fruit came from gardens, not plastic trays in a supermarket? When every back garden had a crooked little tree and every jar in the pantry told a story passed down through generations? Today, we're stepping back in time to rediscover 5 forgotten fruit trees your grandparents likely grew, and that you absolutely should too. We begin with the medlar, perhaps the most curious fruit you'll ever meet. Known to the ancient Romans and beloved by the Tudors, the medlar is a tree wrapped in mystery. Its fruit looks a bit like a miniature rosehip or a squashed crabapple, and it's inedible straight off the branch. But give it time, a few weeks to blet, until it looks halfway to compost and it becomes soft, sweet, and spiced, like stewed apples kissed with cinnamon and dates. In medieval England, the medlar was a winter delicacy. People would place the fruit on straw trays in cellars to ripen slowly, a kind of ancient slow food before slow food existed. And the tree itself, hardy, self-sufficient, and quietly beautiful. Its gnarled form in winter is sculptural. In spring, it bears white blossom tinged with pink. It asks very little of you, and it gives back more than you'd expect. Next, we meet the quince, a fruit that transforms entirely in the kitchen. Hard as stone and covered in fuzz, raw quince is almost inedible. But when simmered gently with sugar and a little lemon juice, it turns into glowing amber jelly. It's the kind of fruit that filled your nan's pantry, or sat proudly on the cheese board during holidays. Quince trees often lived at the edge of a garden, or just inside the gate, their twisted trunks and pink-tinged blossom acting like sentinels of the old ways. Their beauty is subtle, but unmistakable. They're self-pollinating, hardy, and don't demand much space, perfect for even a modest garden. Plant a quince, and you're planting an invitation to slow cooking, to preserving, to a kind of sensory magic we've nearly forgotten. Number 3, the damson. If you grew up in the North or the Midlands, you may already be smiling. Damsons are the taste of late summer hedgerows. Small, tart, inky plums with a deep, dusky flavour, richer than their supermarket cousins. They were often cooked into thick jam or steeped in gin and left to mature until Christmas. Many families had their own damson traditions, recipes passed down on scraps of paper or by memory alone, and they grow so well in British soil. They tolerate cold, thrive in the leanest hedgerows, and bear fruit in abundance. Unlike modern fruit trees, bred for yield and shelf life, damsons don't care for perfection. They care for flavour, for resilience, and for coming back, year after year. Then there's the mulberry, the old soul of the fruit world. Mulberries don't rush, sometimes decades to mature fully. But when they do, they gift you berries like nothing else. Sweet, earthy, and wine dark. They taste like blackberries soaked in sunshine. Henry VIII planted one at Hampton Court. Shakespeare had one outside his Stratford home. Why don't we grow them now? Because they're messy, because they bruise, because they won't sit obediently in a punnet on a supermarket shelf. But that's the point. Mulberries are trees of memory, of legacy. Plant one now, and your grandchildren may one day climb its branches and eat until their fingers are purple. Finally, the greengage. Small, round, and glowing pale green to golden yellow. They don't look like much, but bite into one at peak ripeness, and it's like tasting summer itself. Greengages are syrupy sweet, almost floral, with a depth most modern plums can't touch. They were once a staple in cottage gardens, grown lovingly in rows with names like Uhlans and Cambridge Gage. Now, they've almost disappeared from shops. Why? Because they bruise. They don't ripen on lorries. They don't scale. But in a garden, with a little patience, they are utterly perfect. Which one of these would you grow in your garden? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss part 2.